Well, good morning and welcome again. It's such a pleasure to have all of you here today on the Hearts campus to celebrate the dedication of the Hearts Food Pantry Express, the vehicle, and the program. You all played a role in making today a reality. It's been a long road. It's been a couple of years on this project. It took a lot of determination and dedication, collaboration, partnership. So many of those, yes, buzzwords, but they come to mind because we couldn't have done it without everybody in this room. It really took everybody to come together on this at a time where, and you'll hear me talk about this a little bit in the coming remarks, but at a time where burnout was a reality, where fatigue, there was a lot going on in the world, where this project being so unique and so custom could be just one more thing for someone to have to tackle. Some of our vendors, it's another project, but people rally behind it. And it shows when you go down later on and see the bus. It really shows through in the entire project, and I know it's going to show through in the program as we go out and start serving the community. Before we go any further, I want to share a couple of housekeeping items. Should we need to exit the space for any reason, you can do so by exiting the glass door that you came in behind you and follow those stairs back down through the door you came in. Alternatively, you can go through these double black doors, and there is another glass door that will lead you to a staircase to take you out. Bathrooms, should you need them, would be through these double doors, and to the right, there are 2 bathrooms, and anyone can use either of the bathrooms. In a moment, I'll have our pastor, Ramona Williams, coming up to share a few words and a blessing over our new program and our time together this morning. First, I want to share some of her background and a few words she shared with me ahead of today. She's the pastor of the Buffalo First Church of the Nazarene on Kenmore Avenue, which is one of our site hosts. And having the site host is really critical to this program. The program is so dependent on the partnership of Hearts, our partners at Feedmore, and the site hosts, allowing the vehicle to be on the location. She's an ordained female minister through the General Board of Worldwide Nazarene Church Organization. After working in social services in Arizona for 15 years, she's now in Western New York. She's always had a heart for helping the underserved populations. Being a new pastor in the area, she was seeking opportunities to branch outside of the church doors and find a viable way to help meet the needs of the community the church is placed in, which is right on the border of Kenmore and Buffalo, and really, as I'll talk about in a little bit, right in the middle of an area that we identified as a service gap. Okay? Pastor Williams shared with me, and she prayed about it, and in her words, God worked only in the way God can. I think we saw that so many times throughout this project, and I believe we will see that as the project transitions into a program serving on a regular basis. One day she received a phone call from Hearts asking for a meeting to talk about the needs in her community. And before I tell you everything, I'd like to turn it over to Pastor Williams to come on up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I don't know if I'm supposed to continue sharing, but the rest of that story is that, so it's Skylar that asked for the meeting, and he came and, being new in the area, new to the state really, not knowing anybody, not knowing anything, I was like, sure, I'll meet with him, see what this is all about. And he gave me a map, and it was just a little piece of paper, smaller than the map that's there. And he explained to me that Hearts had done, I'm sure there's a scientific name for it, a strategic assessment. This map right here, look at this map. And a strategic assessment of where was the most underserved place in Buffalo, and it pinged on our parking lot. I was like, what? So I want to frame it. I need a copy of that map because I want to frame it. I mean, how does that happen? I said, it's just a God thing. And so it's been now 2 years, right? Since that meeting, and of course, COVID and all of the delays, but God has just worked in such an amazing way, and I'm so excited. Our church is excited. We have a small older congregation, and the little ladies are excited about, well, let me see what I can do. Maybe I can bake some cookies for, the people that come. So I'm excited and just so humbled and honored that God would allow us to partner with you guys and for the strategic visionary leadership of Hearts for coming up with this and all the partners that made it possible. So I would just like to pray an invocation prayer on the bus, the staff, the organization, everyone. Thank you, everyone who has made it possible. I know there was a moment in time where there was a freezing unit, something that just held everything up. Yes. And it has to be God's timing because now it's complete, it's there, everything is together. So we just want to give God the glory. So if you would, will you bow your heads as we pray this morning? Our gracious Heavenly Father, the Lord of heaven and the earth, we just take a moment this morning to pause and to give you thanks. We humbly come before you and stand today filled with awe, thanksgiving, and praise for everything that you've done. You alone are worthy of all of our praise. We know that you are the source of everything that is good, and we thank you this morning for the good things that have happened, for the sponsors, for the visionary leadership of Hearts for the Homeless, whoever came up with this brilliant dream, for taking a mobile express food pantry out on the road, whoever it was that decided that they were going to ping the most underserved place in Buffalo, and it pinged on our church's parking lot, for the other places that have stepped up and volunteered and allowed the mobile food pantry to be at their location. Dear God, we thank you for orchestrating everything, all of it, for bringing together even the freezing unit component. Whatever that delay was, we don't know what it was, we can't explain it, but we know that in your infinite wisdom, you know. And we thank you that today, on this day, that we all stand here, we sit here, and it has come to fruition. The dream has been realized, and now it's ready to launch. And we thank you for that this morning. We thank you for all of your blessings. We just ask this morning, dear Lord, for your hand of blessing on this work that's about to ensue with the launching of the bus and this program. We pray, dear Lord, that you will shroud each Hearts for the Homeless employee in your protection. Be with the administrative leadership as they continue to dream big dreams. Be with the sponsors. Dear Lord, bless them for the financial and the support that they've given. Be with the community, dear Lord. I pray that each person who has a need, the need will be met. I pray that the volunteers would be held in your hand of safety, that whoever drives the bus will be kept from harm's way, that the bus will be kept mechanic-free. We know that you are the God of the universe and that you have power over all of these things. So we just commit this entire launching of this program into your care. We know that you orchestrated it, and we just pray that as we play a small role in fulfilling this dream, that we would be your ambassadors in this community, that as the volunteers and the servants and the employees and the church members and the other locations that are hosting, I pray that we would be Jesus to those who are lost and seeking help and hope. I pray that you would be with our thoughts and guide our actions so that we would be compassionate like Jesus was in meeting these needs. And above all, dear Lord, that we just pray your blessing upon this entire mobile pantry express bus and all of the endeavors that are about to embark. And we commit it to you and for your glory. We pray these things in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. I share your sentiment. I humbly stand before all of you, before God. God is moving in big ways, and it's amazing to see that happening. We're blessed to be a part of that. Yeah. I'm going to transition to something that you're going to ask yourself, are we going to talk about that? Emails? Do you delete them? Do you delete email? I rarely delete email. And in fact, I've likely retained most of them throughout my time here at Hearts, probably 99% of them. Maybe I'll filter through, delete some of those big files to keep my space where I can have it, but I like to have all those emails. You're probably asking yourself, what do they have to do with today? Well, interestingly, a conversation started over email with a partner of ours, Feedmore, on Monday, September 21st, 2020. if we think back to that period of time, and it's hard to do, September of 2020, it was pretty focused all around the global pandemic, navigating what was in front of us at the time, in front of all of us at the time. I'd like to read an excerpt from that email that I wrote to Jen and Elise Berger. Glad Jen's with us. Appreciate that. Okay, as you know, I am a big fan of Feed More. Still am. Okay, still am. And truly feel that it is a partnership between Feed More and the agencies or boots on the ground. Still do. At Hearts, we are excited to continue leveraging our longevity of serving the community, and we are excited about our renewed focus on utilizing existing and future capacity to serve the community as best as possible. So many things we could unpack in that whole thing. I'll just leave you with the entirety of it. You know, we really wanted to think about the existing capacity that we had, how we could use that capacity, and then how could we leverage it for the future. The email goes on to discuss some gaps in service. We kind of threw the map out there a little earlier, so you saw that already. One of the little props, if you would. And it goes on to talk about how Hearts would be interested in opening food pantries in areas where the gaps may exist. And you may be asking yourself, gaps, what do we mean by gaps? Where lack of access to a food pantry exists. Now on that map, there are some pantries on the border of this gap area, but transportation can be a barrier. That can increase food insecurity. And we really wanted to take that into account. In just about 24 hours, a response came back from Jen. 24 hours during the pandemic. 24 hours during the pandemic. Amazing, right? With a map attached. So not just an email back, but with a map attached, highlighting some gaps in service. We exchanged some emails in September of 2020. We got the ball rolling on what has become the Hearts Food Pantry Express. 2 sites, Buffalo First Church of the Nazarene on Kenmore Avenue and Christ United Methodist Church on Saratoga, where we'll initially be at. We're almost right smack in the middle of those circles. And we'll put that out for you to take a peek at after, because they're really like right smack in the middle of those circles, which I just find that is such a God-sized thing, because the locations and where they are and some of the relationships that we had with the 2 locations were at some of its infancy at that time. We had donation bins. Folks know us, you know, in the community for our donation bins throughout Western New York. And we had donation bins at these 2 locations. And we were able to build on that relationship, what's now going to become a full-service program at 2 sites, 2 food pantries. How amazing. So a big thank you goes out to the site partners. Almost 3 years later, families and individuals will have additional access to food in a joint effort to combat food insecurity. We look forward to nourishing the community physically and spiritually. You may have heard me say this in the past, that the food is a conduit to allow us to reach those in need. You know, certainly it's meeting its own need by itself, the food and the food insecurity, but it allows us to engage in relationship ministry. It allows folks to not only receive something that they're in need of, but be able to gain friends and a community, and it will become its own community, which is fantastic. Over the last 3 years, I've been working with donors, community partners, vendor partners on this project, and have invested over $90,000 in the Food Pantry Express, in the vehicle and really the asset itself, the outfitting it with the shelving and the coolers that you'll see. And I want to thank our amazing donors, large and small, for making that a reality, because we couldn't do that. We couldn't be here today without that financial support, for the belief that you had in us that it's kind of, maybe it seems a little far-fetched. They're putting a food pantry in a bus, you know? So your support in coming on board means a lot, okay? We didn't expect it to take that long, but when you see it, I think you're going to believe that the wait was worth it, and realize that that pantry, that bus, is 2 pantries. It's going to be 3 pantries. It's more than 1 food pantry, because we'll be able to take it mobile, Food Pantry Express. It came all the way from South Florida. This was a real search for this bus. Rick is here, one of our board members, and with Superior Auto Sales, and they helped us try to find a bus far and wide, Canada, the U.S., And we almost probably settled on a couple of buses, and they just didn't work out. And they were a blessing that they didn't work out, because this bus came to us and really is a great fit for this program. We stripped out all the seats except for one. We kept the driver's seat. The inside was transformed into a food pantry. It has 2 freezers. It has a refrigerator. It's got shelving. I mean, it is packed with shelving. It's great to see that. It has a custom power solution with a 9,500 watt quiet run generator that's custom mounted to the front, that repurposed. There was a bike rack on the front of this bus that had all this metal coming out of it, and they were able to reconfigure and build off of that a custom generator rack off this bike rack that was on this bus. The bus was the right fit. It was meant to be. 9,500 watts is a lot of watts, and it's running the coolers really well, and it's kind of neat to see something that, while it's here on site, we can plug it in and use the power from our building, and then when we're off site, we can plug it into the generator and run the coolers on the generator. As I said earlier, all of this was done at a time when burnout was becoming the new norm. That was the reality for so many folks. Just so much going on in the world, and despite that, everyone put their heart into this project, and it shows. Take a minute to share about the bus and the pantry, the programs itself a little bit before I turn it over to our next speaker. We strategically built the bus so that it can have flexibility. Really important that we call that out. The strategic vision behind it was we wanted to have formal site locations. We wanted to have flexibility to go to informal site locations. We wanted to use it to potentially prove the need for a permanent pantry, a more permanent brick and mortar potential pantry, another food pantry express potentially. And initially, it's going to go out to 2 sites that you'll see on those boards. And it's going to go there 4 hours a week at each site. We'll be there every week, 52 weeks a year. So that's really exciting to have that kind of food access going out into the community on a regular basis. Okay. We've collected food independently. We've hosted food drives. We'll purchase food with dollars that we raise and proceeds that we generate from our textile recycling program and our thrift store. And we'll receive for the first 2 locations a great deal of support as a member agency of Feed More. And I really want to call them out as a supporting partner, and I really believe it that way, as you heard before. Because the amount of food that will go out in the community as a result of that partnership is very significant. It's very significant. Initially, these 2 sites could be serving over 300 families a month. That's 300 families. Just think about that. Your impact on this project will be long into the future. We're anticipating 30 to 40 families each time we go out, 300 families a month. Very significant. And with most new programs, we're going to be ready to increase our capacity as needed. We like to do that here at Hearts. We want to be able to iterate and adapt to it and start the program, get it off and running next week, and be ready to adapt and make changes. And from a capacity standpoint, they did some testing, and it showed that we could have enough food on this bus for 350 individuals when fully stocked. I think that's pretty exciting, especially when you go and see the space of it, the size of it, to think there should be enough food for 350 individuals on the bus. And family sizes can vary, but that should give us up to 70 families a day is what our team calculated. So before I go any further, which is so easy to do when given the chance to share my appreciation to all of our stakeholders, believe me, I am so appreciative to all of you. I'd like to give you some background on our next speaker, Dave Norton, who's representing our diamond sponsor, Cisco Foods, for their $30,000 donation to this project. Dave's also a board member here at Hearts and a longtime mobile soup kitchen volunteer. Dave volunteers when he's in town on our longest standing program, our mobile soup kitchen that goes to the downtown library 5 nights a week to feed the homeless. And Dave often volunteers on Friday nights. Dave is the president of Cisco's specialty meat business across North America. Cisco is the world's leading food service distributor with over $70 billion in annual revenue. Dave joined Cisco 5 years ago to lead Cisco's specialty meat business, which serves some of the most iconic steakhouses and white tablecloth restaurants across North America. Prior to joining Cisco, Dave spent 19 years with US Foods. He began his career in the food business here in Buffalo, New York, where he opened a seafood market, which later started wholesaling to retail and food service customers. Along the way, he acquired a meat company and sold that business to U.S. Foods in 1999. Dave's been involved with Hearts for the Homeless for 20 plus years, volunteering on the mobile soup kitchen on Friday night, and he's recently joined the board of directors. So I'd like to bring Dave up.
Thank you. Good afternoon, good morning. Good morning, yep. Thanks, Nick, appreciate it. As Nick mentioned, I've been with Hearts for over 20 years. And I will tell you, I started as a donor when I had my own food company. We occasionally donated food to Hearts. And then I really liked what they were doing. I liked the work that they were doing. And I also really liked the fact that a lot of this is self-sustaining because of the textile industry and the clothes that we collect and then sell in the thrift store and then sell off the other textiles for further use. It really is self-sustaining. That really was important to me. I thought that was a great process. And so, I donated then financially to the organization, and then I had the chance to work on the Friday night crew. And so I started on the Friday night crew back with Gerald was on it, and a former board member, and a whole crew of people along the way. And along the way, we were short people, and my friend Rick called me one day and said, "Hey, what do you want to do tonight? You want to get together?" And I said, "Oh, I'm working on the mobile food pantry." And Rick, I said, "You want to come?" And he said, "Yeah, sure, I'll come." And I don't know, Rick, how many years ago was that? It's probably 10 or 15 years ago. And since then, he's taken over. He is the Friday night leader. He does it almost every Friday. And so I come and do it when I can, when I'm in town. But Rick's done a great job of leading that crew. And then recently, I was asked to join the board. And so it's been a great experience. It's a great organization, and I'm really proud to be a part of it. It's an honor to be a part of Hearts. I will tell you that my experience with Hearts is, people say, "Oh, that's great that you volunteer and you do that," but I get way more out of it than I give. The experience on the street, and if you haven't worked on one of the crews at night, go out and do it sometime. It's really a great experience. I'll tell you a few things that I get out of it. Is you have a rough week and you're feeling sorry for yourself, or you think your life is tough, and then you go out on the street and you meet people that are struggling to survive. They're looking to just get through on the basics. They need food, they need clothes, they need a shirt, they need toiletries. And yet they have gratitude. Most of them come through and they give you a smile, they thank you, and they've got gratitude. And so it's really impressive. And it helps to put life in perspective for all of us, because it's very fulfilling to be able to help and then to see their appreciation. So it makes you feel blessed, and really also helps you to realize that you don't need everything you have in life, and there's so many things that are more important than things, and we get caught up as Americans on things, right? So anyway, it's been a great experience. I travel a lot, as Nick said. I've got responsibility for 25 facilities across North America for Cisco, and so I'm traveling all the time in most major metropolitan cities, and the amount of homelessness that I see is staggering. And most cities much worse than Buffalo. You'll go through, and I was in Houston a couple of weeks ago, and as I get off the exit ramp of a highway, there's tents in the grass there that you see, and they're all over. And it's not just in the U.S. It's in Canada as well. I spent a lot of time in Canada, and we have a serious homeless problem in this country. One of the things I will say about Buffalo, and I've talked to Nick about this, is the homelessness we have here is not nearly as bad as you see in most other cities. I'm not quite sure I understand the reason, but it's kind of remarkable. And we're considered the city of good neighbors, and I really believe that's a part of it. And so if you think about some of the work that Hearts does and other organizations, that we have a much better safety net than many other countries. And I will tell you that most of our people in this city give way more than in other cities. And so it is very encouraging to see this work that's coming to fruition. When I first heard about the Food Pantry Express, I thought, hey, what a great concept. And I immediately thought, hey, it would be great if Cisco could be a part of this. And at Cisco, we're obviously a food distributor. We're the largest food distributor in the world to food service. And about 3 or 4 years ago, we created a purpose statement. And our purpose statement was really designed to help our associates, our colleagues, understand what our purpose is beyond just selling food and providing food. And so I want to share with you our purpose statement today. And Jake, you could probably read the purpose statement for me, but I'm sure you know it by heart. But anyway, the purpose statement is connecting the world to share food and care for one another. Let me just say it again. It is connecting the world to share food and care for one another. And so we're a Fortune 50 company, and you know, I remember when this first came out, I'm like, well, how do we bring this to life? How do we actually do something with this? And so what we do is we've started with that, you know, purpose statement, and we got all of our colleagues across the country to hear the purpose statement, to try to understand and make it come to life. We had videos, we've done all kinds of taglines. Like one of our taglines is, all are welcome at our table. And it's a great line, right? All are welcome at our table. It's not just, you know, in terms of customers, but in terms of our colleagues and being open. And then what we've done is in every community that we serve, we try to reach out in those communities, and almost everything we do is food-based because we are a food company. And so, you know, anywhere there's food insecurity, we have folks that volunteer at food banks, at pantries. We donate to those. And so, and then at every meeting that we have with leadership, we have a demonstration of our purpose. And so what we do is we start the meeting with an example of our purpose coming to life. And so it's really tried, you know, the goal here was to create this purpose statement and then bring it to life in the organization. And so if you think about an organization with the amount of people that we have in the organization, 70 million people across the globe, you'll go to Europe, you'll go to South America, Central America, and you'll walk into a Cisco house and you will see our purpose statement, and then you will understand some of the things that they're doing in that local community. So it's a great thing that we're doing. And so when I heard about the mobile food pantry, I'm like, my God, this is a great opportunity for us to make our purpose come to life. And so I've had the honor to be able to get some money from our organization to donate to this, to be a sponsor. And really happy and proud to be a part of Hearts. It's a great organization, and we'll look forward to the next step here in the evolution. And I will tell you, Nick's leadership, being on the board the last year or so, is really impressive. His vision for moving forward and taking on the next big adventure is boundless. And so I'm really excited about where we go with this and the other projects that we launch in the future. So thank you for coming today. Thank you for your support of Hearts, and we ask God to continue to bless this great organization. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Dave. Yes, and it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Heidi Marr of United Healthcare, who is our platinum sponsor, having donated $15,000 to this project. That's very significant. I remember that call. It's a call I don't think I'll ever forget. We were talking about this project and the program that was going to become after the project itself, and we were talking about some sponsorship levels, and I just really felt convicted to talk about the $15,000 sponsorship level on that call, and was really taken back when the call came back that's the commitment that was coming in and the funds that we received from United Healthcare. I think having a healthcare partner on this project is really exciting as well, so I think there's a lot of opportunity there as we go on. So I'd like to bring Heidi up.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here today. So in my capacity with United Healthcare, more of a sales role, but they've been giving me a lot more opportunity to go out into the community and see where we can partner with organizations like Hearts to, further grow our relationship and serve our members and then folks in the community. And I personally have been able to sit face to face with the community, enrolling them in healthcare plans that are going to give them monthly food allotment, and see the look on their face when they say, really? I can't believe it, And so a lot of what you hear now with healthcare is social determinants, and that really came to light after the pandemic, because there are a lot of glaring gaps in access to the things outside of doctors and hospitals to keep people healthy. And I'm not going to repeat a lot of that, what I have in my notes, because you've already talked a lot about, social isolation, transportation, food insecurity being at the top of the list, right? So this contribution is one of several United Healthcare initiatives launched to address social determinants. And these are in communities in New York, Syracuse, downstate New York City, to help those struggling with food insecurity, the isolation, behavioral health issues, and more. So, it's a major challenge to the health of those in our communities. And that's why we're really proud to be able to make this contribution to the Hearts Express. So thank you to everyone who has worked tirelessly. I know I work in a big company. I know how these things go. You have a timeline. It's extended, but here we are. The vision has come to light, and we're actually doing it together. So I'm thrilled. I can't wait to see it in action. Thank you again, guys.
Thank you, Heidi. I think back to the time with United Healthcare and Hearts, we had a relationship for quite a while. Volunteers coming from United Healthcare doing food drives for our mobile soup kitchen, and having that relationship go to this next step, if you would, for the sponsorship really just, I think, speaks to the leadership there at United Healthcare and the commitment to communities. I'd like to present a couple of plaques now. It's really my pleasure to do this. I'd like to present plaques to our gold, platinum, and diamond sponsors. Kelsey's going to help me with that. As we were working through getting ready for today, we really wanted to take a moment to have some plaques and honor those who have given to this program. I'm looking around the room. Okay. So I'm going to have Heidi come forward to receive the United Healthcare plaque for their platinum sponsorship. I'll have Dave Norton come back up, and then Jed Walker as well to receive this plaque. Met Jed about 2 years ago or so now, and at the more local level, Cisco's been very supportive and helpful with what our needs are.
Nick, look this way here one more time.
Oh, one more?
Nick walked away. Go back. Look here. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Okay. Now, if that wasn't enough, wait, there's more. Before I turn it over to Tony from Christ United Methodist Church, I have a very exciting announcement to make. For the first time publicly, and this is just so exciting, we've been talking about how the opportunities with this program have been moved in so many ways and moved so significantly. For the first time publicly, I can share that the Hearts Food Pantry Express will be traveling to Livingston County. So in addition to the 2 sites locally in Western New York, we'll be taking the express bus on the road to Livingston County. When you think Livingston County, think about Avon, New York, Mount Morris, Dansville, Route 390 south of Rochester. That generator is going to be put to use. We're going to be using those 9,500 watts. We're going to have that diesel bus driving down the highway. I'm so excited about this. The vision of the bus was always to be mobile. Our programs have been mobile, many of our programs, right since the beginning of Hearts, and for this program to truly be mobile in that it's going to a county outside of Erie is really fantastic. A grant in the amount of $50,000 was awarded to Hearts by Joe Moran through the Rochester Area Community Foundation. This happened in a way that really just took us back. We had a couple of calls and continued to engage on this process. We have representatives here today from the Rochester Area Community Foundation. Sarah Bukowick, did I get it right?
Very
Close. I tried a couple times. And Jeff Polino. They helped coordinate this grant opportunity, and we're so grateful for their support along the way. We can't wait to see what it looks like in Livingston County. Can't wait to put the time in to truly get all of the thoughts organized and then get it on the road serving in that community. It's a bit of a pilot program, if you would, to take the bus into a community or potentially communities there and use those grant dollars, the $50,000 grant, to meet the needs in those communities to combat food insecurity and potentially then prove that there needs to be something more permanent there. A permanent food pantry could come out of this experience. Another Food Pantry Express could come out of this experience. And having that opportunity to take this asset on the road and do that is something that we're just extremely grateful for. So stay tuned for future updates on that. We've covered a lot today. I can't wait to see the program up and running next week. Can't wait to see it serving the community, meeting those needs. So I'd like to invite Tony up from Christ United Methodist. Tony Nadel will be closing us out today. She's joining us on behalf of Reverend Davin Osvig. I practiced that one a couple of times too. Representing Davin Osvig, who is the pastor at Christ United Methodist on Saratoga in Amherst. And it's not defined just by Amherst, because we're going to have our borders now. And I know there was some conversation about zip codes and the name of the towns. And I really would encourage you all to look at these maps after, because we really try to put some thought into how we can serve those gaps and best meet those needs. Tony's been instrumental in welcoming the program into their community and having Christ United Methodist Church as our generous host. They coordinated a recent food drive at the church to help further support families and individuals in their neighborhood. I love hearing that. That just really speaks to the partnership this program is all about. And some of that food is on the shelves of our warehouse space right now, downstairs, or right on the bus that you'll see. After Tony closes us out, please join us for some refreshments. We're going to break down a couple of the chairs. We'll have some refreshments, and then go down, please, and see the bus on your way out. And if you would like a tour of the Hearts campus and anything else, anyone in a red shirt would be able to do that. We know that everyone's busy, but want to have that opportunity for you all to see what else is going on the Hearts campus. Tony.
Thank you. Over the past several years, Christ United Methodist Church has witnessed increased food security. We've responded in various ways, like a free little food pantry on our campus, connecting those in need to existing services. We've supported local food pantries, but we saw that the food insecurity is just persists and has increased. When Hearts approached us with the possibility of hosting and supporting the Mobile Food Pantry Express, we knew that our prayers to connect people with ongoing services had been answered. Throughout the process, we have enthusiastically shared the ambition of this ministry, and we're proud to have played a role, and will continue to do so in this exciting way of meeting needs where they're at. We just want to thank you, Hearts, for letting us be part of this incredible dream. Let us pray. Gracious Lord, we are thankful for the vision you gave in different ways to meet needs right where they are. We thank you that even when that vision seemed more of a distant dream, we were not deterred in believing that by your grace it was possible. We thank you for the many who have shared this dream and have joined the ambition to bring hope to those who find themselves in need. We thank you for the strengths which have brought this day into being, for each person's and organization's special contribution. We pray that you would bless this vehicle and those who drive it with safe passage as it goes about its ministry. We ask your blessing upon those places where the ministry will be undertaken. And most of all, we seek that this ministry will be one of dignity and support, helping all to experience that truth of your love, that each one of us matters to you. Amen.
Well, that concludes this portion. Thank you all for your attention and time for this. Let's enjoy some refreshments, and then we will go downstairs. I really encourage you to talk with each other as well and ask, what role did you play? Everyone played a role in making today and this program a reality. Thank you all so much.